So I need to build some tie down boards that go on the trailer. When you have the boxes on there, you've got lids sitting on top and you need to tie everything together. So you use two boards with a nylon strap between them. One goes on top, one hangs on the side. If you just threw one on the top, as you traveled down the road, the pressure would push it towards the center. So having one that hangs over helps to keep it, the one on top, where it's supposed to be while you tie it down. So I found the cheapest place to buy strap is Harbor Freight, and then cut them apart. So that's what I did. And I've got some 3/4 inch screws here that I'm just going to roll the edge of this over, screw them down. Doesn't help with the nylon, gets all twisted up in the threads. These screws are the only thing I have that's 3/4 of an inch long and won't stick through the other side. And when I get the other side done, I'll turn it over, put screws in this back side too, so we'll have extra screws holding it, and then that'll hang over the edge. So I've got to make 8 or 9 of those. So I got them done. This is how they sit when they're on the top of the boxes. So the strap that you're tying them down with can come over the top, hold this down, but this board won't slide across the boxes, and it'll stay right there on those edges. And this one will hold them from the side. So I finally did get smart and heated up a rod and poked holes in them so I could get the screws in easier. So, but in the middle of trying to get those done, I had to stop and go mess with the trailer and trailer hitches, which of course we waited till Saturday afternoon to figure out, and then nobody has what you need. Places that would have it aren't open. So I went and picked up the flatbed I'm going to haul down, and it's a deck over, so it's tall, and it doesn't ride bad on here right now, but it's got a pintle hitch and I can't get a rise with it. I need to get it higher when I get it loaded, or it's going to be nose down pretty heavy. And I have to extend out here because of my flatbed. It sticks out a little too far. I've got another hitch that'll raise me up quite a bit and be just about right, but I have to switch from this pintle to a ball hitch, and nobody around here has got one. I went to a friend of mine's farm store and we tried to find one and stole some stuff off of his equipment that didn't work. So I spent a bunch of time messing with that, but then I had to get back on other stuff. But I still have to extend chains on this, and I got to get make sure the lights are running and a bunch of other stuff before it's ready to roll. Anyhow, I did get these done up, so that's one project off the list finally. So I've got a pallet loaded with about 8 bottom boards and top boards, and my mini mating nukes that if you saw the earlier videos where I made some medium boxes that would hold the mini mating nuke frames. Those should be down there full of bees. Hopefully they've got eggs in them, and then when I get at my buddy's place, Northern California, I'll pull those frames out, drop them in these mating nukes, and treat it like a walk-away split. I'll be moving the bees a long ways to set them there, so hopefully they will just start their own small colony in there, make a queen, and we'll have a good start on it. I'll also set up cell builders and try to graft some while I'm down there too, and then when I head back down the next time, I'll take more mating nukes to get those cells into. So that's where we're at so far. All right, next order of business, we need a tarp to put over the bees once they're on the truck and trailer, because we're going to have to stop for fuel, and we don't want the bees harassing people. So at Harbor Freight, I picked up these 12 by 20 mesh tarps. They're really a pretty neat tarp with, you know, a mesh on them. The air will go through them, so they're not too hard to keep on, but they're 20 feet by 12. When I go from the deck over the top back to the deck, I've got 18 feet. So I'm going to have a foot on each side that's on the deck. I need to be able to reach up onto the tarp and pull it tight with bungees to hold it down. So I need to get some tie downs on it. So what I've done is taken the straps off of ratchet straps from Harbor Freight, and I'm running one full length down it, and then I'm going to stitch on top of it a smaller piece with a hole in the center, just a bunched up spot in the middle that's not stitched, so there's a hole through there, and then I'll put one of these carabiners through it, so I can either run a hook into the carabiner or snap it open and run the belly of the bungee cord through it. So now I've got to stitch this whole line. I tried it this morning with regular push pins like you would use in sewing, and they didn't stay in this very well. Of course, the fact that it's 12 feet long makes it a little hard to get where you need it to be, but we'll get it up on the machine and see if this works any better. If it's not working well, I may go through the others and just try to stitch on some tie downs in the middle without the band. But I wanted the band for more support, and I'm going to put a hook at each end. One that was on the strap and one that was on the ratchet will go on the other end. Then as I go around the front of the load, I can pull those around and snub them off to something. So let's get it on the machine and see if we can stitch. So I'm stitching one edge of the long nylon strap down, and I have a mark every 2 feet along it so that I can put in one of my strips. So the nylon long strap is on the back side of the tarp, and then I'm putting these added pieces in on the front side, and I'll stitch across it about halfway through. It's harder. There's nylon, it wants to slip. You've got to keep pulling it through the machine. The machine's designed to sew leather that's quite a bit thicker and not as slippery as this stinking nylon. I'll just pull it out of the way for a couple of stitches and then slip it back up, and that'll leave enough hole for me to put the carabiner through. Get the safety pin out of the way, which they are working a lot better than the straight pins did earlier today. They just wouldn't stay in this slippery stuff, kept sliding out. I had to find them on the floor. So as I stitch close to the end here on the strap, I'll throw it in reverse, put a couple back stitches in just to make it a little stronger. And I'm adjusting my stitch length as I go in places. I want it a little tighter in some spots and longer than others, because if I keep it tight, it'd be a long stitch all the way down this 15 feet of nylon.